Welcome to Overcoming Fear. We've been talking about the common idea that being a good person will make good things happen to you and throwing that idea right out. Life isn't fair. And we said that life isn't fair because God is love, and love isn't fair. God loves everyone, even if they're not loving in return. That sounds great, doesn't it? It does, but it means that bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people. Now, some people will stop there and say, well, that's about this world, but what about heaven? They'll tell you that in heaven, people get what they deserve, even if they don't get what they deserve on earth. And there are words of Jesus that support this idea. Like there's a famous thing Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." A lot of people took this to mean that if you're poor on earth, you'll be compensated with a kingdom in heaven. Now in that reading, Jesus is saying that our suffering today is sort of an investment in the future. Maybe it means that life is fair if you include life in heaven along with life on earth. And this is an idea that just isn't found in Christianity. Lots of religions believe that after we die, we get a reward or a punishment based on whether we were good or bad during our life. Some people think this happens when we're reincarnated into a better life the next time around. Other people think that we have like an afterlife. And a lot of people see this as so important to religion, and specifically to Christianity, that they think it's at the center, that suffer now, get a reward later. And both people who support and attack Christianity have started with the premise that at the center of Christianity is this idea that you accept pain now and get a reward in heaven. A reward that you can never see or experience, but just a reward you have to have faith in. Now, the power of this idea is obvious. If you think that you're going to get an infinite reward that can never be seen or proven, and you really believe that, you're going to be willing to do just about anything to get it. So there are stories of people going through incredible suffering in the belief that they were going on to earn an eternal reward. Now, you might find those stories inspiring. You might find those stories horrifying. Either way, we can't deny that they've had a powerful impact on human history. This idea that suffering on earth leads to joy in heaven. But Jesus told us that heaven doesn't work that way. He has this parable. He says the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for the usual daily wage, he sent them into the vineyard. When he went out at about 9 a.m., he saw other people standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, "Hey, you go to the vineyard too, and I will pay you whatever is right." So they went. Then he went out again about noon, and again at 3, and he did the same thing. At 5 o'clock, he found even more people standing around, and he said to them, "Why are you standing here idle all day?" And they said, "Well, no one's hired us." He said to them, "Okay, you also go to the vineyard." So when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his manager, "Call the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and then going to the first." When the ones he hired at 5 o'clock came, each of them received the usual daily wage. Now when the first came, they thought they were going to receive more, but each of them also received the usual daily wage. And when they received it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last people only worked for an hour, and you've made them equal to those of us who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat." But the landowner replied to one of them, "Friend, I'm not doing you any wrong. Didn't you agree with me to receive the usual daily wage? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to the last the same as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or are you envious because I'm generous?" So, Jesus said, the last will be first, and the first will be last. Now, this story is a parable, and each person and element in it stands for something. And in this story, the landowner is God. The payment is this idea of the thing you get for working for God, for doing good. And God is giving the same reward to different people, even though they didn't put in the same amount of work. And when the people who worked really hard complain that his system is unfair, he doesn't even bother to try to convince them that it's okay for people to get different pay for the same amount of work. He doesn't try to convince them that it's fair. He just says, am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? And then Jesus says, flat out, so the last will be first and the first will be last. You really couldn't be more explicit than that. Jesus says that even in the kingdom of heaven, God doesn't hand out good things based on how much you suffered on earth. There's no promise even in heaven that everything is going to balance out. There's nothing that says that suffering now or working harder now means that you're guaranteed to have a better outcome, not in this life, not even in the next. And so Jesus makes it really clear. Doing good things doesn't give you control over the future, neither in this world, nor whatever you believe about it in what comes next. Now the question for this video is a big one. Do you think that people have different experiences after death? And if so, what do you think determines the experiences they have? Go ahead and talk about that or write it down, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Okay. Wow. That was like smooth.
Stop your recording.
Wow. Oh, I'm so excited. I need to click that. Wow, it went well.
Yes.
To save that too.
And I only missed one.